In this video, I'm going to explain all the reasons why I believe we're living in a simulation. This is going to be a multi-part series. Think about this. Picture a video game scene. You're walking to the top of a mountain. When you get to the top, your computer has to render or load in the terrain of the valley on the other side of that mountain. This is how quantum physics functions in our reality. When you're not observing something, it's in a wave state waiting to be rendered. When observed, it collapses into a definite particle state or reality. I asked an AI chatbot what the probability is that we're living in a simulation if the computer running the simulation only has to render in what is being interacted with or observed. It said that there was a 99.9% probability that this is a simulation under those parameters, and the computer would have to be the size of a planet. It would have to be much larger if it had to render in everything, but since it only has to render in what is being observed or interacted with, it requires significantly less computing and hard drive space. How is this possible, you ask? A computer the size of a planet? There is something called the Kardashev scale. It's a scale that rates civilizations based on their technological advancement, specifically their ability to harness energy. There are 3 types of civilizations. We are a type 0.73. A type 1 civilization can harness all the energy of its host planet with oil, solar, etc. A type 2 civilization can harness all the energy from its host star with theoretical structures like Dyson spheres. Picture a solar panel array wrapped around our sun. A type 3 civilization can harness all the energy in its host galaxy. So we would have harnessed all the energy from all the planets in our galaxy and all the stars in our galaxy with theoretical structures like Dyson spheres in this type 3 civilization. With the rate at which we're going, we will certainly create Dyson structures in the future. AI will run gigantic autonomous factories that will produce billions of robots, which will build bigger factories and produce bigger, more efficient robots. While this is happening, the AI will continue to become more intelligent and efficient until we're harvesting asteroids and planets for resources. Eventually, we'll have enough resources to build a Dyson sphere and fully harness the energy of our sun. The sun is 109 times bigger than our planet, and a Dyson structure would likely have to be built around it far enough out that it wouldn't destroy the machines constructing the sphere. Therefore, this structure would likely be over 300 times the size of our planet. If in this scenario, we can create a structure 300 times bigger than our planet, building a supercomputer the size of a planet would be a walk in the park, and we'd have many of them. Think about this. Our planet only has 1 moon, which means we take asteroid impacts that lead to extinction events more often. If a habitable planet had 6 moons, it would take significantly less asteroid impacts. A civilization on that planet could advance well beyond us technologically because they would travel beyond their host planet and colonize other planets before an extinction event happened. Get this. Astronomers have discovered a section of space that is pitch black. They say it should host 2,000 galaxies. Some theorize that there is an advanced civilization in that region who have milked that entire area for its energy. Given that there are hundreds of billions of galaxies, with each hosting hundreds of billions of stars and trillions of planets, the statistical probability of a civilization reaching type 2 is high, if not certain. That being said, we are basically 100% in a simulation hosted by an advanced civilization via planetary-sized supercomputer. That is one of the theories why I believe we're living in a simulation. A couple of the other ideas I have is as follows. The Mandela effect. People remember the events in our reality differently. Berenstain Bears. I came from the reality where we had the Berenstain book. This reality has the Berenstain book. Now, you could argue that this is just BS if it was just one person that said, oh, well, it was Berenstain in my reality. But since it's thousands of people that remember it being Steen, it's much more likely and probable that the people from the Steen reality were mass imported here by the simulation creator at some point in time. Why? I have no clue. It could be that maybe there was a tsunami in the Steen reality and those people got destroyed and they were imported here so they didn't perish. Your guess is as good as mine as to why these glitches happen in the simulation. But what I know for certain is that we are in a simulation that has a multitude of parallel realities, and wave particle duality also suggests this. So that's another reason why I believe we're living in a simulation. Mandela effect. Outside of that, there's people that have taken hallucinogenics and seen code in laser beams. That's another reason why I believe we're living in a simulation. Now, some people might think that this idea is far-fetched, but I can I can give you a couple reasons that kind of point to it being more likely that we're in a simulation if you're not convinced by the reasons I've already laid out. Some of the other reasons why I believe we're living in a simulation are as follows. Now, picture this. You're in the year 2100. You've signed an organ donation form. You pass away, but the robots that are operating on you are so good and efficient, run by AI, that they harvest your brain, they hook it up to synthetic blood and oxygen systems, and they import your consciousness into a simulation, right? Much like the Matrix, right? Now, this is already occurring at a rudimentary level. They are already growing synthetic brains in laboratories and hooking them up to video games and having them control butterflies within a video game. They're already doing that right now. So the fact that they're already doing that right now basically proves that in the year 2100, they're going to be able to plug brains into a simulation that is indistinguishable from the reality we're living in. Technology is already so good that these video games already look real. Like you go on Unreal Engine, you look at Unreal Engine, it's almost indistinguishable from reality already. Imagine what it's going to be like in 50 years, right? So that's hypothesis A of like in the future, we're able to take people that have passed away and upload them into simulations, right? That are indistinguishable from reality. Now, another possibility is you might be in a VR video game, right? You might walk into a VR center in the future, in the year 2100, and they have highly advanced haptic suits that they can plug you into a simulation, and you won't know the difference because the graphics will be so good and the sensations will be so real that you won't know that you're in a video game. And they'll have some sort of technology where they will be allowed to turn off your long-term memory. So you will have no memory of even entering that VR center. You will just be entirely immersed in the reality of that video game, right? So that's another reason why I believe we're living in a simulation. These are all hypotheses, but I know for 100% certainty that we are in a simulation. I just don't know why the creators of the simulation created it. It could be a multitude of different reasons. They could be trying to simulate an economy, right? They could be trying to simulate a fix for economic crashes in their time, and they just simulate a multitude of various simulations parallel to each other and figure out where they went wrong in the economy or where they went wrong in their political domain. Who knows? It could be that. It could be the thing I said about people being uploaded to not perish and to live on in a simulation, and that simulation becomes like a test of who to re-upload or insert into a clone body into the utopia, because in the future it could be just a complete utopia and only the civilians that have perfect moral character can be reintroduced. So this simulation might be a prison of sorts for degenerate people, right? And the only way that you can get out of it is to be a perfectly moral being in the simulation, right? That could be the case. And some of the reasons why I believe this, and again, if you accept the premise that we're in a simulation, you've accepted the premise that there's a creator of the simulation, right? What do we know for a fact? We know that we're living in a simulation, right? Just bear with me. Pretend we're living in a simulation, right? So we know that our feelings are programmed by the creator of that simulation. Like we know our morality stems from the creator of that simulation, right? He coded us with morality. And that's why you feel good when you do good, and you feel bad, you feel remorse when you do bad things, right? Why would the creator encode us with these negative and positive emotions based on how we act if he didn't want us to act in a certain way? Therefore, you can deduce logically, reasonably, rationally that the creator wants us to do good. So that's kind of where I wanted to end this video and leave you to sit with that idea that we were created for a reason. And, the reason is, speculative, but I have a couple of good theories that I'm going to lay out in other videos as well. But I wanted you to sit with that fact that we are 100% living in a simulation, and the creator wants you to act in an objectively, morally good way. Okay? And I want to just end with that. And this is going to be a multi-part series, and I'm going to dive deeper into the subject. But I wanted you to take the information that I've proposed here today. It's a lot of information, and I want you to just resonate with it. Okay, I think that's it. Have a good one. See ya.